Welcome back. This is week 7. Really good week, so let's get on with it. Over here, so really most of the gains this week came on Friday, the last day. We were basically neutral, and you can see really here that this is almost a straight line. Um, I mean, most of all my trades, they go into the positive region, right? So I start making money on them, and then like a couple days later they just go back to zero. It's a little bit annoying. So then I just close them at neutral or slightly negative, and that's why the profitable trade amount is so low this quarter, around 40%. Other quarters it's around 60, 70. But I mean, considering it's 40%, right, and we're neutral. I mean, we were basically neutral here, and now we're really close to outperforming. Kind of just indicates the risk management is really well, because you're only making money on 40% of your trades, and you're close to outperforming. So yeah, over here, same thing basically. So this week you can see really the boost on Friday. I switched the x-axis here, so it actually is correct. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Over here, similar thing from last week, almost the exact same, and then went up. This is kind of interesting because this week I started closing out my long, went short, made a good amount on it, but then the problem was the next day, it basically went neutral, so I closed out of it, and then I went back long. So I'm like, okay, it's not gonna fall, so what's the point? And then yeah, I basically just went back long, and on Friday got some good gains from it, and also on Thursday. Nasdaq is insane this quarter. I mean, non-stop going up, and we are close to outperforming it, which is very good. But yeah, just no signs of stopping. Over here, we got outperformed 60% of days this week, so pretty good, and did 1% more, or around 1.7% more. Outperformed, so around 55%. That's pretty high. We want this number to typically be around above 50, and we're only 0. Basically 9% underperforming Nasdaq, which is very good. We are very close to outperforming Nasdaq. SPY, we're even closer. You can see we're very close. SPY also no signs of stopping. I mean, 60% a day similar. We did outperform 1.2% more. SPY did have a really good week. Had a really good week this time. Almost 58%. So this is very high only on the quarter. Typically this number's around 50, 52. This quarter it's around 58, so that's interesting. Considering you can see like from the graph before, right over here, that there's mostly a straight line here. You know what I mean? So over here, and it's still around 58% of days, which is interesting. Over here, so let's see. So yeah, we're only 0.6% underperforming, so that's in 1 or 2 days could be recoverable. Over here we got Dow, so we're actually outperforming Dow Jones finally. We were outperforming here, outperforming here, outperforming here. So we finally got another peak in. That's good. But yeah, I mean, kind of what I meant here before is that my positions are earning, and then it just goes back to neutral, and then it's like boom, and then I'm like, okay, close it, start something new, and then it's kind of just been repeat that for the last 2.5 weeks. It's been a little frustrating. Over here you got 60% a day similar, and Dow Jones did pretty good this week, 1.3, and almost 58%, so that's very high, and we're actually outperforming by around 0.5%. So over here you got all of them. So you got Dow Jones, SPY, Nasdaq, typical setup. Dow Jones lowest, and then SPY, then Nasdaq. So typical setup over here. Nothing really over here. Dow Jones is really doing really well, surprisingly, and then it kind of just didn't do so well. And Nasdaq has been a straight rocket. I mean, nonstop. Over here, so our daily percent goal is actually very good. We're at 0.18, so this is 0.01. We're actually above our goal. This is above our goal so this would be before expenses, this goal, and this this number is coming from after all the costs, so all the transaction costs. So our goal is 0.17 before transaction costs, and right now we're at 0.18 after transaction costs. So if this number is higher, right, than this number, then you're doing you're doing really good. So I mean, right now we're doing 0.18, so this is very good. Really high increase from last week. Over here we got the week, so you can see really the data comes out surprisingly is Friday, but I mean during the week, Monday chill, Tuesday here was the day that the long, basically my gains from my long, just got totally eliminated. So I had to close that, and then I went short, gained a little, or actually I went short, right, And then I did gain a little, yeah, because I went short on some other sectors. So on this day I did gain, but then I had to close it, and then I went long on something else, and then I went, or just long, and then I got a big gain on Friday from that long. So these two added up, or these three added up to recover this Tuesday's loss, and then Monday also helped. So I mean, really a really good day. I mean, just one bad day of the week, so it's fine. Over here, so this is kind of slowly becoming more green. This was over around over here, I think, last time. Now we're slowly decreasing it, so it's fine. Over here, so this is slightly increased. This should also be N negative. I don't know why it's not there. Over here, you also, so our gains actually were the exact same this week, considering the high gain on Friday. Interesting. And then our losses did actually increase by almost the same though. So, and our standard deviation did decrease, which is interesting. SPY's gains finally decreased a little. Its losses did stay the same, and then its standard deviation did decrease. So this led to our difference at least being less. The respective ratios are less than last week. So our difference is actually better right now. And then we want to, the goal I think here is to increase our gains to this amount. Decreasing our losses to negative 0.9 is quite hard. I don't think that would be possible this quarter. The only thing that I see possible, or slightly possible, is this going up higher. But since September, our ratios are a lot better than SPY, so nothing to worry about. Also, this quarter has been very good for SPY. You typically don't get a 6-7% quarter in 2.5 months, right? But or not even 2.5 months in, right? So we're around I think we're around 1.5 months, so 7 weeks. So yeah, almost 2 months. But this is fine as it is. We just want to be outperforming by the end of the quarter, and that should be good enough. Over here, so I fixed this slide a little. The difference you can see has gotten smaller. That's good. We want this to be 0 positive. However, our standard deviation multiple is greater, so it's more volatility, but almost the same. Transactions did increase, and this is almost 0. I think there's only 1 this quarter, so that's fine. Over here, so I added 2 more slides, the beta and later on the alpha. Yeah, these slides are important to add. I feel like I didn't add them before because I thought, I can just leave them for like the summary quarter, which is good enough. But if we have it in the week, it's also more info, and just kind of see how it's improving. Our beta is your correlation really to SPY. So we want this beta to, you typically want it to be, you want to hedge against SPY, right? So if you have a beta of 0, that means you're uncorrelated with it. If you have a beta of 1, that means you're the exact same. If you have a beta of negative 1, then you're inversely correlated. Let's say you have a beta of 2, right? Then that you would be 2x. So this kind of just shows that the hedging and all that is actually doing really good, considering I'm only doing ETFs, not even options. So if we have a beta of 0, that means we're uncorrelated with SPY. So there's theoretically this quarter there's no correlation with SPY. So that's kind of what we want. Overall, it's around negative 1.14. And considering our high returns since the beginning, around 72% right now, and you have a negative beta, negative 1 beta, that's really impressive. So then that's why our alpha is so high. Right now, we are underperforming, but due to our beta almost being 0, we do have a positive alpha, right? So 0.05, which is 5%. That's pretty good. You want to have positive alpha. We've had positive alpha for all the quarters. Yeah, all the quarters. I think one quarter we were very close to 0, but we had like 1%, I think. So, the beta and the alpha are important. I just decided to add them in the weekly slides because why not? Over here, so this is from last week. So, overall, after transaction costs, we're at 5.95. This is pretty high for 2 months. That's 3% each month, theoretically 36% in a year. Not counting for compounding, but right now, last week was 3.12, so I'm hoping this week we're outperforming, and then this quarter is going to end probably around mid-August. I'm not too sure yet, but around mid-August, and then depends, how busy I am and stuff, but we're basically at 6%, so it's very good. We have this coming week, one more week, I think, and possibly another week, so around 10 weeks. That would mean 2 months and 2 weeks. So that's 2 months and a half. That's typically what I aim for, but we'll see how that goes. I think probably around 14th of August, or maybe I might do 2 or 2 months and a half. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So it's very good. I don't think we have this coming week, so not. I don't think any big news coming up. We had some earnings this week. One good play I didn't mention from the last week's was one of the positions I was holding was ASML, and ASML was kind of just lagging the whole time. I think I closed it around. I did close a bit red. That position was kind of annoying, and in the end, it did have earnings, and it went up before earnings, and it totally crashed. So good thing I wasn't. I decided to sell that. I switched to other things, so I did sell that before the earnings call. Um, so that was a good call, and um, yeah, not much else. So thanks for watching. Hope you have another good week. This has been a very good week. Hopefully, best case scenario right now we'd be outperforming Nasdaq next week. Hopefully that's the case. I am overall positive right now. I'm pretty happy about this comeback. I mean, comeback around 2%. We've had a lot worse times and better times, but I think this is pretty good. And our standard deviations and all that are not as high as other quarters. Our beta's neutral, very close to neutral, so that's good. Good alpha. So, yeah. I think next week I won't be here anymore, so that's kind of when my solo trip ends, and then we come back, or I come back in Spain for a couple more weeks, and then I'm out back to the U.S., and then college starts. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.